Week 6 DFS recap. We are going to run through all of the action on DraftKings, on Underdog, Pick'ems, all of that good stuff. Then we'll check in on some of our season-long best ball sweats. Do we have any eliminators still alive? We will check out the Monday Night Football slate as well. Maybe build a Pick'em. Check out the Primetime Paloozas, and maybe a little Week 7 preview as well, as we now have those contests up in the lobby. I'm Pete. This is the portfolio review. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atrophic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, crack spot bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 points with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone, GM. Some of you maybe have the day off today. Congrats if that's you. Seems like a mixed bag from people, at least from the Deposit Kingdom. I saw lots of good or big wins in the Discord and on Twitter. Saw some people taking a bath, no wins. Our guy Keith here finished second in the Deposit Kingdom League. So yeah, we're going to recap it all. I had a good, profitable week 6, made money on both Underdog and DraftKings, barely on DraftKings. But yeah, I would say it was a better week for the touts. The calls we had in the Deposit Kingdom video for the gems. Baker was our lead quarterback. That was awesome to see him, put up a monster score there. We also had Najee and J.K. Dobbins as some scroll down gems. They were a little overshadowed by Joe Mixon, who I'm a little bummed I was not on. But those did well. And then our Cram picks too. We did a few gold star locks. It was Joe Mixon. It was funny. Like I wasn't getting to him in BRs. But when we were reviewing the DFS slate yesterday morning, Joe Mixon standed out as a dynamite play. And then Zay Flowers was a guy there. So nice to have some of those picks hit. We put all 3 of those into a pick'em entry on the Cram. And if you tailed that, that was all green dots there. So as always, if you guys want those premium shows, you become a YouTube member. Hand Builders and Opto Bros tier will get you access to those Crams on Sunday morning, as well as DFS After Dark on Saturday nights. I had Jay Fresh on. Some of you guys know him from around the Deposit Kingdom. He recently solo shipped a showdown Milly there on DraftKings. And we had a fun conversation with him about his evolution in the world of fantasy and scaling back his day job to be a more full-time DFS player. So that was a fun combo there with Jay Fresh. I need to pour some coffee though here. Let's get in the mix here. We'll get the overlays going, the GMs flowing, and I will pour some coffee here. All right, the pour is here, and yes, it is hoodie season. I kind of like, I love summer. I love the tank top season, but there is something nice about entering the portion of the year we can throw the hoodies on, the sweatpants. I need to put all the tank tops away and pull out the sweatshirts. This was just the one I had laying around, so that's going to be on my my to-do list here soon. Hi P, please send me the gold chain with the $sign on it. This is like a reference to the man's days. Were you able to see that? Because it's hanging up right over here. I didn't even think that ever made it into frame in my videos. Bob, I'm kind of scared how you knew that this was over here. Is this an old school man's reference for you? Do I need to wear this the rest of the episode? All right. This would have been a better thing to win or to wear in the previous weeks when I had just won. I like to think of like someone just tuning in for the first time, and then I'm going to show that I made like $40 on DraftKings and I'm just wearing my gold necklace here. What's up, J Mike? Love to see it. Highlight from the weekend. So I mentioned this on Off and On the Clock on Friday, but we had a babysitter for Friday night. So Lauren and I got to go out for dinner, and that was fun. Went out to an Italian place we hadn't been to near our house. It was really good. I had a seafood gnocchi dish that was amazing. And then we even had time to go for a nightcap at a bar nearby. So don't generally get to do that. So that was definitely the highlight of the weekend there. All right, let's get into it here. I'll get the lineups pulled up. We'll start with DraftKings, which is what we always do. I made 3 lineups yesterday. Did have one of them that cashed. Nothing spectacular. As far as had a little min cash here in the SPY. I guess a little less than that. Was I duped? There were 3. I'm going to be really bummed out if I was actually duped 4 times. I pulled this up and I was like, why did I get paid out $237.50? This is the reveal. You guys are going to get to watch me look at this. And if I was actually duped with this lineup straight up, I'm going to be pissed off. Okay, no, this is a different lineup. This is a Gibbs Bijan. This is a Spencer Rattler. This is a lineup that had Tolbert. Okay, so just complete randomness that there were 4 other teams who scored the exact same amount of points as me, 154.92. Okay, glad we've moved past that. I was going to be mega tilted if I was actually duped in 9 spots there. I rolled out a Lamar Jackson double stack, Lamar Jackson to Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. I did bring it back with Terry McLaurin there. And then I got in 3 kind of non-Uber chalk running plays. J.K. Dobbins at 5.8%, Najee Harris at 2.8%, Chuba Hubbard at 10.8%. We had Cade Otton as a one-off tight end in here, and then Eagles defense, who I liked. They were a little bit more expensive, but going up against Cleveland. So I really like this lineup. It just didn't quite get there. You obviously needed to have some of the Bucs stuff, Godwin, Baker, Lamar, not really paying off that 7,800 salary at 23, but felt good about a lot of the plays in here and getting really nice ownerships. You get 23 points from Najee at that price point, 18 from J.K. Dobbins. Zay and Terry McLaurin combined for almost 50 points, kind of the thesis of the play there. Those guys speeding up the game. I wasn't really on Rashad Bateman earlier in the week, and someone mentioned him in the chat on the Cram, and I thought that was a pretty good call out. We were kind of, searching for value down there in the 4,000 range, and it was hard to come by. I liked a little Trey Tucker this week, but I thought Bateman call was good. And obviously the play was to go back to Andrews, right? Andrews ended up being the way to play it, but I didn't have the stomach for that. So I thought Rashad Bateman at 4,100. So considering how poorly I've been playing on DraftKings, it feels good to just get the slightest of dubs here in the SPY. First place here, did have a Lamar Jackson team. That's kind of wild to me. I assumed second place was Baker, third, there's a Jaden. So lots of different ways to win at quarterback this week. There's a Jordan Love at the top. But yeah, this top team had the Lamar, Zay, McLaurin, just like me, but of course did the Mark Andrews, had Godwin in there, Bijan, Tony Pollard. And then, man, this play, was anyone on Tim Patrick yesterday? $3,300 Tim Patrick, 3 receptions for 68 yards. He was so close to a touchdown too. They had one. Did they overturn it? Said he stepped out or whatever. So incredible to get to a one-off Tim Patrick here. Otherwise, this lineup is pretty straightforward. Mark Andrews giving you 15.6 points at 3,900 and 6% ownership is pretty nice there. Man, the Zay Flowers stuff was tough. Just incredible usage in the first half. I believe he didn't have a catch in the second half. Someone can correct me if that was wrong. I know they gave him kind of some end-around stuff. The usage is just outrageous right now for Zay Flowers. Like, I felt really good about that play. I was super heavy Zay Flowers on Underdog as well. Like you can see here, I got the Fantasy Life utilization report up. 97% of the routes, 31% targets per route run, 36% of the targets. Like it's hard to be frustrated with a 4th overall PPR finish, and yet a little bit allergic to the end zone, and somehow they just seem to go away from him in the second half. I mean, I thought he was going to break the slate the way that game started. I thought he was going to do what Chris Godwin did So yeah, it's frustrating to not fully get there with Zay, but then it's, on the other hand, it's kind of hard to complain. I mean, you know what he did with the amount of targets. How many total targets did he end up with? 9 targets there, caught all of them. His ADOT a little bit lower this week, which is kind of interesting, 5.2 instead of the 11 and 10.7 from previous weeks. But yeah, that game, it felt like it had the ingredients to kind of blow up, to get combustible, and it just never quite got there and exploded in the way you would have liked. We feed the ducks. We can feed the ducks if you want. We can do a little duck feeding. Normally I feed the ducks when I'm more of a sad boy. I would say I'm in a neutral mood today, but we can feed the ducks. Appreciate that, JGFC. The Gold Star locks. It's mostly a bit. It's kind of as we talk through the slate. And one of the things I like about the Gold Star lock bit on the Cram is I don't go into the show like having circled it already. It's like talking it out in front of you guys, seeing what you're bouncing off in the slate, looking at the ownership, looking at the projections, and then, you know, some stuff starts to pop off the page. And I kind of like coming into the slate with really fresh eyes. Like I'm not anchored to something from earlier in the week. And yeah, that's what was so frustrating to me, is because I'd done a ton of underdog drafts and I just was not getting to Mixon. I was doing a lot of Dobbins, a lot of Najee Harris guys for my scroll there. And I just had a blind spot to Joe Mixon. That ended up being a very big mistake. He was a key piece for underdog drafts, would have been a very key piece on DraftKings. He was a little expensive. So more of an excuse on DraftKings not getting there than on underdog. But man, I think we just have to remember with guys, we see it from both AJ Brown and Joe Mixon yesterday, right? They come back from injury. They aren't like limited, you know, basically at all. And you're just always going to get that just slight discount on those superstar, you know, players. And yes, I'm being charitable calling Joe Mixon a superstar, but those upper end fantasy plays, you're going to get a discount because people want to see it before they play it. And I think that was a process mistake by me of not having more Joe Mixon. I did get him into one of my DraftKings lineups that I'll show you guys in a second. I also want to give a shout out in the other spy, Nate Noling got second place. I haven't got a chance to check out the Gilcast yet, but I think he was holding on in first place for a second and then got passed at the last second, but still took down the smaller spy. I think the one with 2,000 entries. Took that down for, I believe it was $15,000. So congrats to Nate Noling. I can't wait to listen to the Gilcast and have him rub it in Davis's face because I saw he onslaughted the Bucs and included their defense, which has been a talking point on the Gilcast in years past. And Davis is like, there's no way that can be good. So Nate Noling winning with the onslaught plus defense. I can't wait to listen to that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm just talking about. It was the most Nate Noling lineup ever, and I love it. He onslaughts a team, he jams in a ton of chalk, and he uses the defense from the onslaught. It was an awesome team. It was Bucs, and then he had, I believe, both of the Panthers guys. All right, let's see here. Let's go look at the other DraftKings lineups. I want to spend more time on Underdog today. I did also want to just take a quick peek at the Milly Maker lineup that won because it is a wild team. I saw someone tweet this out and was like, the winner here was an actual time traveler. Listen to this team that took down the Milly. This is the $25 Milly here. Jordan Love, naked, which was an awesome call. What did he throw? 4 touchdowns to 4 different pass catchers. You played Derrick Henry. You play Sean Tucker and Chris Godwin, not Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin. You sidestep the talk, 0% ownership on Sean Tucker. You play Jalen Tolbert at 5K. Obviously, you have the Godwin. You have Zay. You have Otten. So you have 3 Bucs, but no Baker Mayfield. And then you have Joe Mixon. And then you also have the Buccaneers defense. I mean, this is like, you know, when you look at these lineups and you say, I would never get to this lineup. I would never get to this lineup. I don't know how you get to this lineup. An optimizer is not even spitting this out. Even if you had no constraints, there's no way an optimizer is spitting this out. This was hand built. I want to hear the story from Joe Nip 166. I mean, we joke about building lineups on the shitter. I mean, is this not the most shitter lineup you have ever seen in your life? I even think on the shitter, there's too much clarity there. This feels like a late night fever dream. Like, how does this team not have Baker Mayfield on it? How much was Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield was 6,500 and scored 31.9 points. He still would have won the Milly. He could have saved 100 and won by 5 extra points. He already won the whole thing by 11 points. Like, not putting Baker Mayfield, I think that's really where I take umbrage here. There's nothing else that I am going to say doesn't make sense. Derrick Henry with Zay Flowers, love that. Onslaughting the Bucs. You make one Galbrain pivot off of the Mega Chalk Bucky Irving. I'm on board. One off Jalen Tolbert. At least you're saying, like, hey, what if all those other pieces in that game don't hit? Everything else makes sense. But Jordan Love, instead of Baker Mayfield, and it didn't even matter. Wow. That's how you're running good. Imagine if he would have won the Milly had he played Baker Mayfield. We would have never have known, because I wouldn't be reviewing Joe Nip's, 6th place lineup. Do you guys think Joe Nip sweated this yesterday? Or is this the kind of thing where he logged in and just noticed that he won $1 million? He probably had to remember. He probably saw Sean Tucker, rumbling for a second touchdown and was like, oh yeah, I did do that last night. So tip of the cap to you, Joe Nip. All right, let's head over to the Deposit Kingdom. I had that lineup I just showed you guys from the spy in here. The lineup where I used my I had my 3 flag plants from the show, and I was like, I got to get all of these guys into a single lineup. So this lineup I started with Mixon, obviously Zay Flowers, and then Jatavian Sanders, who I liked as a pump play tight end. He ends up getting 9.9 points at 2,600, which in this economy, we will definitely take. And then I was like, all right, how do I want to build this? One off Mixon, Zay. I'm already going to have a Lamar Zay team. So I was like, let's build this around Jatavian Sanders. So I like Deontay Johnson as a play. And I was like, let's do a Dalton double stack with Deontay Johnson, Jatavian Sanders. Didn't force a bring back. That was a mistake since Atlanta scored a ton of points. I also had Dobbins on this team. Use this as an ability to get up to CeeDee Lamb as a one-off play. And then Ladd McConkey. I did like kind of probably a too cheeky correlation with Dobbins and McConkey. Just saying if the Chargers offense rolls, maybe we can get a little bit more from that block of players. And then I played Ravens defense because I'm like, if I'm mostly fading that game outside of Zay, let's pay up for the Ravens versus Jaden Daniels there. This lineup was just ho-hum despite the flag plants hitting. But let's go to the real important stuff here and see who took it down. What do we got? Big Earn McCracken. I think that's Big Earn McCracken, or could it be Bigger in McCracken? I'm going to go with Big Earn McCracken. Takes it down with a Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, and Bucs D. You sickos getting the Bucs D in there is some incredible stuff. Also had Derrick Henry, who ended up being a guy that was certainly helpful to have. You didn't have to have him if you got to like Joe Mixon and Bijan or had the Najee and J.K. Dobbins in there. But if you were going with Bucky, you really needed the high-end score from Derrick Henry there. Gets Jamison Williams and Tank Dell. I like these plays here, just being in the kind of cheaper range, but getting access to players who do have kind of a proven ceiling there. Also have my Jatavian Sanders, Tony Pollard in the flex, 198 points here for our winner. So congratulations to Big Earn McCracken. Is this unique? Nick's saying a little laggy here and there. Is that Nick or is that me, guys? Can you let me know if that is if I'm lagging for you? I don't see anything on my end that looks like an issue, but let me know either way. All right. I think it's just you, Nick. I think it's just you. Oh, no, there's a laggy here. Every once in a while it's twitchy. All right. I don't have a ton of random stuff up, so I don't know what would be causing this, but if it gets worse, let me know. Let me know if something happens here. Okay. Let's see here. So Len Keith, I know a few of you guys reached out to me, so I'm going to try to make sure I can check in on some of your lineups here. Len Keith rolled out the Spencer Rattler. Love it. He was, of course, 4K. You could do a lot with your lineup if you played him. I like what he did here. So goes Rattler to Juwan Johnson. So just doing like the cheapest possible stack there. Then you kind of roll out plays from the other games that you like. So use this to get up to AJ Brown at 7,800. You know, getting to AJ Brown instead of CeeDee Lamb ended up being very smart. A one-off David Montgomery, a one-off Tony Pollard, a one-off Chris Godwin, and then a Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin mini. I think this was like the perfect way to use Spencer Rattler. Where you're saying, I'm just going to get in a bunch of high-end wide receivers here. Godwin, Flowers, McLaurin, AJ Brown, 4 wide receivers over 6,500 who all put up 23 or more points. That is how you take advantage of a 4K running back, and then living in the 6K range with Montgomery, Pollard. I also like that Montgomery Lions defensive correlation there. 21 points for Montgomery, 18 points there for the Lions D. So really sharp lineup there. Again, goes to show, like, you weren't winning a Milly with Spencer Rattler. You probably weren't even winning the Spy, but you could win these smaller contests with Spencer Rattler here. So congratulations, Len Keith, 192.82 points. Let's see. I know who else won. Oh yeah, my guy Steampunk Mario, I believe, had top finishes in both the DraftKings and Underdog Deposit Kingdom leagues. So shout out to my guy Yoshi here. Had the Mayfield, Bucky, Godwin, Otten block here. Had Ladd McConkey, David Montgomery, Zay Flowers, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Ooh, did the double Detroit running back. That was a fun play. I think it was, viable, a little expensive, but man, this is the exact game to do it. So you get Montgomery, Gibbs, and Lions defense. And even though Gibbs has a down game, I think this block pays itself off. Just because of that big defensive score, and Montgomery putting up 20 plus there. So congratulations there, Yosh. And yes, I would never forget that you also got second in the Ship It Nation contest. Tune in to Lulz to find out if Yosh is on team Run Pure Sports or team Ship It Nation. Shady advice, get out of here, Shady. Stop playing our contest. Goblor from the Discord as well. Up here, I see it's Mookie. B Merchant here had a 5th place team with a Jaden Daniels stack here. So again, these smaller contests can get home without the nuts. Jaden Daniels, McLaurin, Ertz ended up being a nice double stack there. Bring back with Flowers, Bucky, Godwin, Bijan, the double tight end there too. And I believe it was in the Cram show yesterday, it was B Merchant who tossed out the idea of Ertz and Otten. And I was looking at it and I was like, actually, yeah, I don't mind how that looks. Saving money there, both of those guys in good matchups, projecting for a little bit more target share than normal, and then allowed you to do a bunch of stuff. And I like the fact that you correlated both of them, essentially. This is kind of like a masterclass lineup in eliminating the number of things you have to get right. You play Washington game and Bucs. And then other than that, the only non-correlated pieces were a one-off Bijan Robinson and the Texans defense. So completely simplifying things. DFS does not need to be as hard as we make it. And I would say this lineup is illustrative of that. Yep, we got it up here. Brandon Merchant's 2 tight end build. And yeah, the reason it made sense, right, is because we're sitting here digging through the bottom of the barrel, looking for any kind of receiver value. And we tossed out some stuff that we thought was okay. I liked A.D. Mitchell a good bit. We mentioned Trey Tucker. Some people were into like Jalen Polk, but there were no stellar options down there, sub 4K. So when you look at sub 4K and then you look at Zach Ertz, who projects for 5 to 6 targets, you look at Cade Otten, who projects for 5 to 6 targets at 3,500 and 3,700, they are just better plays than any of the wide receivers in that range. So we all have a stigma in our head, I think, of like, double tight end, it's gross, tight end sucks. Why would I, want to play 2 tight ends? But when you frame it relative to not sacrificing a wide receiver spot with a punt wide receiver, I think that makes a lot more sense there as far as getting onto some of these cheap ones when they do project for a decent floor. And again, you weren't winning any big tournaments with Ertz and Otten because you're going to need a little bit more raw points, the MANdrews scores most likely. But yeah, I thought that was a nice play specifically for this lineup and this size contest. All right. I think that is about it. I see my guy Lou Dog here finished in 20th place with, he went to MANdrews, had the Zay Flowers, MANdrews, and Terry McLaurin bring back there. We got OG Mans fan got 15th here. Jason always playing well. I see Jason near the top of the leaderboard. Feels like every other week. Had the Jaden Daniels, McLaurin, Ertz with the double bring back, Zay and Bateman. Again, simplifying things here. Oh, triple bring back. Holy cow, look at this. Daniels, McLaurin, Ertz with Derrick Henry, Bateman, and Zay. Again, one thing right. This game goes nuts and then plays one off Tony Pollard and then Bucky Irving correlated with Buccaneers defense. So again, a very logical story to this lineup. Good job here. We see Champ here. I believe Champ here, if I'm matching your username in the Discord correctly, you and I were neck and neck in the big BR for a 19th place finish. So we'll pull that up in a second. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Let's see here. Yeah, let's head over to Underdog now. There's always a ton for us to cover over there. And so we will head to the Battle Royale streets. Like I said, had a profitable day yesterday on Underdog, had about 2,000 in play on the main slate, walked away with 3,400. The majority of that due to top 20 finish in the big Battle Royale here. So let's just start there. Got to give a shout out to Goat Napped. I believe, yeah, he was on Twitter as well. Let me pull this out here. He was shouting out the Badge Bros and off and on the clock. Took down the $50,000 top prize BR. You know, if you're waiting to win the BR, you wait until the prize jumps from 30K to 50K. So some big brain shit there from Goat Nap. Took it down with a really logical lineup here. You know, there's honestly not a ton of fancy stuff here. You can kind of go through it pick by pick. You take Derrick Henry at pick 3. You come back and get Bijan to slide to 10. That is a slide, but it was happening regularly. I had a bunch of Derrick Henry, Bijan teams. There were, you know, a decent amount of people who were kind of skeptical of the Bijan stuff despite the matchup. So that was a combo you could get, not at a high frequency, but at enough of a frequency to get it in your portfolio. Then comes back and takes McBride at pick 15, does a little Chris Godwin at 22, Terry McLaurin at 27 is kind of a mini correlation opposite Derrick Henry. And then what are you doing once that's your team? Well, Jaden Daniels is probably off the board. And so you're looking to stack your quarterback. And so you have two options. You have Kyler Murray or you have Baker Mayfield. Both of them weren't getting drafted 100% of the time, but Baker was going to be used a lot less. So you correlate Baker Mayfield with your final pick, 34, and you win $50,000. So congratulations to Goat Napped here. This feels like a lineup I was very close to. I know that because here's my lineup in 19th place. I had the Derrick Henry, the Bijan. I had Zay instead of Terry McLaurin. But my fatal flaw here is I scrolled at tight end. I said, I don't need you, Brock Bowers. I don't need your 13 points, Trey McBride. I don't need your 11.6 points, Sam Laporta. No. I got this. We're scrolling down to the Baker Mayfield. But I would still say that this is my preferred way of how to play Battle Royale. And it was nice because this exact double stack was one I put in the Gems video as an idea here. Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, and Cade Otton there. And the thought here is because Cade Otton is not getting drafted in the majority of these, you're just going to be competing with far less teams here. And I actually now want to actually test this here so we can look at something. And shout out to our guy Patrick Donovan with the Battle Royale leaderboard at bbmdb.com. You just hit the drop down and go over to Battle Royale. But let's look at something here. A Baker, Godwin, Trey McBride. And I want to see how many teams there were here. So there were 175 Baker Mayfield, Godwin, Trey McBride teams. And let's see if my thesis is correct. And there were 129 K-Dotton teams. And I will be the first to admit right now, that gap I thought was going to be much bigger. So it's still, a significant amount of teams. Getting rid of 45 teams is nice. However, normally that gap is a little bit bigger, but I do think the maybe partly putting it in the video, partly the double stack meta being pretty hot after the Joe Burrow made the K-Dotton play a little bit more popular than it otherwise would be. So that's an interesting thing to note, but that is really kind of the distinctions you're trying to think through with that last scroll of how many teams am I going to have to be competing with at the top of the leaderboard if this one core element hits. In this case, obviously the Baker to Chris Godwin thing. And we can check some of the other ones, with Laporta, there was 188. So even more than with McBride. I assume there was a decent amount of these with Brock Bowers, 271. So way more with Brock Bowers there. So that's probably a better illustration of this same stack going against a decent chunk of Brock Bowers teams. But I think even just getting to Baker was a pretty nice scroll this week. Obviously, there were only 2,268 Baker teams. We can go look at another quarterback who's getting drafted a decent amount of time, like Jordan Love. Almost exactly double the amount of Jordan Love teams this week. And Jordan Love ended up being a great play. Kind of hard to hit with, though, because all of the production was spread out. So if you were stacking Jordan Love, you probably weren't going to get home in a big way. You can see here, 5th place does get there with, is this naked Jordan Love? Yeah. See, and I'm never drafting a naked Jordan Love team on Underdog, but gets there with Derrick Henry, Bijan, Godwin, McLaurin, Bowers. This could have even been kind of like an auto-drafted team off of ADP. So just some interesting stuff there. I highly recommend playing around with some of these roster combos. It'll give you a better feel for what the field is doing in a given week. I know. I was like, there's no way that the Otten stuff is quite as big there. Otherwise, I was laughing too. We're bouncing around here, but DeBomb. So Yogi Vogi Berra from the Discord, I believe he's a YouTube member, finishes in 2nd place for 4K. In his lineup was the exact stack, my Galbrain stack from the video. So in the Deposit Kingdom videos, I give out the 5 gems, 1 at each position and a bonus. And then I do 3 kind of draft angles just to kind of get the juices flowing. And one of them was the Baker double stack, but not using, one of Evans or Godwin, and then bringing it back with Rashid Shaheed. The thought being he's not getting drafted. He could speed up that game, be part of a shootout. So Vogie here in DeBomb, Baker Mayfield, Godwin, K-Dotton with Rashid Shaheed. And I was like, so you're telling me I just needed to do the lineup, that idea that I had for the BRs. I just needed to do that in DeBomb, and I could have won 4,000. Congratulations, Vogie. Obviously love that lineup there. I got our guy John Boy Beats. Let me go back to the big BR here, and then we'll hop around to some of these other contests. John Boy Beats finished in 6th place. And this is one of those funny ones, right? Because you pull this up and you see the swap here to Baker Mayfield. So this was initially an Anthony Richardson team, which makes sense because it has Josh Downs on it. So it's Anthony Richardson to Downs. You have Henry Bijan, that combo we keep seeing, Godwin, of course, and then Trey McBride. And then Anthony Richardson's not playing, so you get the swap. And I would be curious, I don't know if John Boy's watching, if this was, did you go move Baker up to be your auto swap for all of your Anthony Richardson teams, or if this was just kind of serendipity there to back into the Baker to Godwin stack. But it goes to show there are a couple ways to land on a top finish. It wasn't Anthony Richardson. You get the swap to Baker, happen to have the Godwin there, and get that 8K 6th place prize there. So congratulations to John Boy. as well. Joka in the Discord finished in 4th place with 10K. Again, you had to have the Henry Bijan combo there. I will make like a strategy note about the Henry Bijan thing. I think it's a good reminder of like one of the things I like to do in BRs. I'll have my personalized set of ranks. So that means I'm often maybe getting combos. Like an example, I had Alvin Kamara higher in my ranks this week than Jahmyr Gibbs. And so I was getting a decent amount of Kamara and not as much Gibbs. However, if I noticed Gibbs was really sliding in a draft, I would take him, because my thought was, even though I have him lower in my ranks, I know if I'm only getting him when he slides, that whoever I'm getting him paired with, let's say it was Derrick Henry, and whatever, Gibbs's ADP was what, like 6 or 7, Henry's 3. It's going to be hard to get those guys together. But me not being as high on Jahmyr Gibbs will be offset by the fact that there won't be a ton of Gibbs and Derrick Henry teams. And so I think a similar thing with the Bijan. I don't really care about value later in the draft, ADP values, I should say. But at the top, when I say, okay, this Bijan Derrick Henry combo isn't happening as much as others, I want to take advantage of that. And again, let's test this out. Here's my intuition that it's not happening. Let's see how many Bijan Derrick Henry teams there were. So only 592. Derrick Henry would have been what, more regularly paired with? Can someone remind me who would have been like pick 12 or 13 that he would have gone with? I can pull up my my ADP here thing, and we can try to test this out just to kind of prove the point. Sorry, I know this isn't let's see, do we got it to AJB or Kamara? Yeah, let's try that. So Derrick Henry with Brown, so versus 592, 1,629. So over 3 times is more frequent. We can do Kamara too. 1194. So because of the ADP, it was just harder to get those together. So that's just a note I would file away, is if you do get, those ADP values, soak it up, because you're going to be competing against far less rosters with that combo. Yeah, we can check the Jaden Reed one there as well. 1,570. So yeah, all of these players paired with Bijan, 3x more than Bijan. And again, I'll give my plug. I continue to give the hard sells here for the Deposit Kingdom video. Way more of you are subscribed and watch this channel than those Deposit Kingdom videos. Go subscribe over there. It's just one video a week, drops on Friday afternoon, has the gems, has the draft ideas. We've been absolutely in fuego over there with the picks. We also have been doing evergreen strategy discussion. I did kind of a deep dive into how to think about double stacks as it pertains to draft ownership. And I think it's pretty valuable of knowing when it makes sense to double stack versus not running into a chalk double stack. So I also have those timestamped, and I rounded them up in my newsletter this week too. So if you're just looking for a quick way to consume the non-week specific information here, I compiled a bunch of these evergreen segments here, and these are all timestamped in my newsletter here. I'll drop the link down below to the PO box. But we have the 5 Battle Royale commandments, how to leverage injury swaps, tips and tricks for small field contests, how to build for top 10 finishes, the real secret sauce to double stacking, and then the original scroll the F down strategy explainer that I collabed with the Badge Bros on. So if you guys are new here, if you're just salary cap DFS players, if you're feeling behind the 8 ball, if you want to jump in and start drafting BRs with us, I think these resources will really get you caught up just from like a foundational standpoint. And then you can dive into all the slate specific stuff. So go check that out. Please subscribe to the Deposit Kingdom video. My editor's doing great stuff over there. The picks have been good. I think the strategy's good. So I will continue to give the hard sell on the Deposit Kingdom videos. All right. I don't think anything else to mention here as far as the main battle royale. Let's go ahead and look at the Deposit Kingdom League, and then we can kind of poke around at some other contests. We'll check out the Dawg Bowl as well. But the Deposit Kingdom League, we got Lava Lord from the Discord and a Badge Bro here taking it down for $2,000. We got that 2K top prize again here. Back-to-back weeks now, we got that 2K first prize. This is the $10 3 max contest, the titular Deposit Kingdom League. This posts every Friday at 3 p.m. when we're live on Off and On the Clock. And Lava Lord took it down with Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Bijan, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Trey McBride. So some light correlation here. Jaden and Derrick Henry from that game, Bijan and Deontay Johnson from that Carolina-Atlanta game, and then a one-off Chris Godwin, one-off Trey McBride, 130.56 points, wins pretty easily with a 2-point cushion or so there. So congratulations to Lava Lord. Oh no. Yeah, I should have said eponymous, maybe instead of titular around here. Zion's left shoe got 12th place here. Zach 0. There you go with a Baker Mayfield to Godwin. Derek. Oh, and Cade Otton. Love getting that double stack. Obviously, Diggs and Jaden Reed here. Didn't have monster scores, but enough to keep you in the mix. Let's check out our second place team here. Ribeyes had the Baker Mayfield to Chris Godwin, had the Derrick Henry to Alvin Kamara, had Zay Flowers paired with Derrick Henry, and then Brock Bowers at tight end. And then J-Fresh. J-Fresh, is this? I assume it's the same J-Fresh, just confirming here. But right after doing After Dark with J-Fresh, and he was saying he wasn't playing a ton of the Battle Royales, of course, he hops in the Deposit Kingdom tournament and immediately gets third place. Congrats to J-Fresh here. Baker to Godwin, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Brown, and Brock Bowers here. Nice squad. FF Dan, I saw he was in the mix for a good chunk of time yesterday. Had that Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown stack. Love seeing Tank Dell in here. I thought Tank Dell was one of the better kind of semi-scrolls at wide receiver. He had an ADP of 33.1. Just curious what his draft percentage ended up being. You compare him. So like, I think comparing someone like Tank Dell to Marvin Harrison would be a good one, like one of those mid-tier wide receivers. So Marvin Harrison drafted 7,500 times. Tank Dell drafted 3,700 times. So just under half there. So Tank, a nice scroll, specifically in this contest. I would bet there was less than 5, maybe less than 10 Tank Dell teams in this contest there. Not that he goes nuclear, but 15.2 points there. And then otherwise you have that just Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown stack. See if I recognize any other usernames here at the top. Bunch of names I don't recognize. Oh yeah, my guy Nick, I believe finished top in the hurry up too as well. Had a nice team here. So it seems like Nick had himself a nice day. Congratulations there. Oh yeah, champ, I did forget to show your team in the Battle Royale. We both, were we both in 19th place? Yeah, we tied. At first I thought that we were duped. And again, similar to reviewing the spy lineup, I was terrified that I was going to be duped. I do love this lineup, champ, because so you go the Baker to Godwin, but you got the extra scroll in there at the end. So you grab Trey McBride. You know that Baker with Godwin's going to be unique. But then you get Joe Mixon, who I was mad I was not on. And again, let's look at this in this contest as far as Baker, Godwin, and then Mixon. I'm going to guess this is sub 100 teams. 18 teams. This is right here, like the power of the scroll there. You have the nut stack and a nut scroll down thing. And now there's only 18 other teams competing with this combo here. So shout out Sus Edwards as well. I saw he tagged us on Twitter, also had a Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, Joe Mixon team finish in 27th place. So really good stuff there from Champ. I love that. So yeah, week 6 Deposit Kingdom League in the books there. We will have another one obviously for week 7. I didn't have anything else really cooking in the Underdog streets. I think I had like a top 10 finish here for the Flea Flicker. I haven't seen John tweet about his first place in the Flea Flicker with a Baker Mayfield to Chris Godwin, Cade Otton stack. Let's check out on the Dawg Bowl though. So an insane performance here from D-Rap, punches his third seat, I believe, and also had seats 7 and 8 here just all over the top of the leaderboard. Had the Baker Mayfield to Godwin stack as well as Joe Mixon. These are, if you guys aren't familiar, we did just switch from looking at a 6-person contest to the 12. The flea flicker I just showed is a 12-person contest. The Dawg Bowl Qualifier, 12-person contest. So the player pool obviously goes deeper. A good example is Joe Mixon. You know, Joe Mixon was getting drafted in, I don't know what, 95% of the Dawg Bowl draft, specifically by the end of the week when it was clear he was going to play. Doesn't mean he's not a good play. Just shows that the player pool goes much deeper, and you're having to draft a lot of times players who aren't getting drafted in the 6-mans here. So D-Rap takes that down. Dave, who does work over at ETR, a super sharp player who also had a Dawg Bowl seat last year. He's always firing hard at the Dawg Bowl. Gets home with a Drake May to Hunter Henry stack. Love this little game block, Drake May, Hunter Henry, and Joe Mixon. And then you kind of hit the nuts with the top 3 pieces here. Derrick Henry, Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin. And then AWE, I believe it was this team. I know he normally auto drafts teams. I didn't get confirmation whether this team was auto drafted or not. It would seem hard to believe that it was auto drafted with Baker, Godwin, and Otten. If so, that's even more impressive to if you landed on that correlation via auto draft. Bijan, Najee, and also Terry McLaurin here. So AWE headed to the Dawg Bowl. And yeah, we got to pour one out for some of our friends here who were very close to the top. So Sacrilegious has been flirting with a ticket all season long, has been really close. Just some really brutal beats when you look at the scores here. So 130.9 ships a ticket. Sacrilegious here at 130.5. So you start going through your head. Any other Xavier Legette catch, any other Brock Bowers catch. I mean, just anything like that, just so freaking close up there. Roto Run, John also just so close. Drake London here on this team. Drake London had that near touchdown catch that I believe they overturned or was just really close. I can't remember right now. And then Najee Harris, they had a couple of those goal line stands where he wasn't even in, and Justin Fields runs it in. So John, very, very close to punching a seat. So as always, my heart goes out to you, heavy Dawg Bowl chasers. It is a cruel, cruel contest. But I will say, you know, for guys like Sacrilegious and John who are, you know, putting shots on goal, I think your day will come. I think it will come. So good luck next week, and congratulations to our 3 most recent finalists, AWE, Dave, and Drap. Big boy here took down the fullback dive with the Baker Godwin stack you recommended. Love to hear it. Let's check out this. I actually think, no, I missed the original fullback dive. I couldn't believe it. I think the first fullbacks were smaller this week. They were still kind of feeling out how the fill rates for the contest would work with the bigger BR. And so I blinked and I completely missed the first fullback. So I can't, I don't see your lineup in here because I only got in the fullback 2, but congratulations to you, big boy there. I need to pour some more coffee here. Oh yeah. Eli got second place in the fullback 2. Here he is with the Baker Godwin stack as well. So yeah, super fun to see how many of you guys smashed with that Baker Godwin stack. Let's see if there were any other contests we want to look at here. Anyone else here win any contest you want me to look at a team in? Victory formation, I bricked that one. DeBomb was the only other one we were looking at. I see our guy Easy up here with a top 8 finish with a Daniels, McLaurin, Zay. I was mad at myself in DeBomb because I didn't go out of my way to get a Baker stack. I ran 5 different stacks in here. I had a Jaden McLaurin Ertz team. I had a Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride. So kind of a game stack one. Jesus, Marvin Harrison. I know it was a concussion, but still that bagel hurts. I had a Lamar, Lamar with, oh yeah, I got sniped and ended up going with Isaiah Likely. Should have gone Mark Andrews there. I did have one of the chalk Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson teams. That doesn't get home. And then what was my real dive bomb team here? Jalen Hurts, Barkley, and Goddard. So there you go. I bricked out mostly into bomb other than this Jaden Daniels team that somehow snuck in a min cash without Chris Godwin there. The Wildcat, yeah, I got to show that. Star Tours, yeah, I put in a few entries at the top of the week when I'm kind of getting my bearings here, but look at Star Tours. 2 top 10 finishes in the Wildcat, including a second place prize here. Let's check this out. Had the Baker to Godwin, very similar team to the one that won first place. I believe this is the exact same team, right? Yeah, Baker, Henry, Bijan, Godwin, McLaurin, Trey McBride. Great squad there. And then also had that 7th place with, oh, wow, I love this. So let me ask you a question, Star Tours, because this is your exact same lineup, except you had Kate Otten on this one and Trey McBride. So did you, how many of these Baker iterations were you running? Because that is pretty lucky to get the Henry Bijan on 2 teams and then also keep hammering that Baker stack there. So that is a pretty sick play there to get 2 teams up there. And again, we highlighted the Wildcat last week. You know, if you're kind of a little bit turned off that the Battle Royale went from $5 to $7, I mean, the Wildcat remains an awesome contest. It's smaller than the Battle Royale. It's cheaper than the Battle Royale. So you're competing against less teams. And you still have the chance to compete for 5-figure prizes up there with that 10,000 first place prize. So, you know, for all the places we're talking about, you know, getting your feet wet, learning, kind of experimenting, seeing what works. I highly recommend this $3 Wildcat. And John Boy Beats was up here as well with a very similar thing. Look at this. Also had a Baker Mayfield swap here that he had Anthony Richardson on. So look at John Boy, 2 top 10 finishes with the swap. Yes, shout out to Tyler for winning nothing. Shout out, Tyler. I think, Tyler, here's what your reward is. I just got a short to post over on the Ship Chasing channel about the Taco Bell burrito. And I believe you will make an appearance in that. So that's your big win. You know, Tyler stays winning on the brand front. All right. We could quickly look at some of the pick'ems. Some really near misses was a bummer there. We had a few things get home. We mentioned we did our, we took our gold star locks from the Cram and we put them all in a pick'em. So Zay Flowers higher than 58.5 receiving, Joe Mixon higher than 50.5 rushing, Jatavian Sanders higher than 21.5 receiving. That one hit, which was nice. The heartbreaker though from the Cram was we had the game stack involving the Baltimore and Commanders game. And this one broke my heart because it was so close. It was humming early. Lamar Jackson higher than 220.5 passing yards, check. Zay Flowers higher than 58.5 receiving yards, check. Rashad Bateman higher than 2.5 receptions, check. Then we get a little spicy. Terry McLaurin scores the touchdown, kind of boosts the odds of this payout. He hits. And then Justice Hill, we had tossed in there higher than 2.5 receptions. He only finishes with 1 reception. A bit of a bummer there. You know, partly that game script. Once they got up, they were not checking down as much. So that one was a little bit of pain there because that would have been a nice payout. But we've been very warm on the Cram. We were warm on off and on the clock as well. Some bummer ones there as far as this was another one from the Cram where I was like, I did from my gut. I said, who's scoring a TD today? And I said, Sam Laporta scoring a TD today. I said, Tony Pollard scoring a TD today. I said, Terry McLaurin scoring a TD today. And I said, Zay Flowers is scoring a TD today. And of all of these guys, I thought for sure Zay was going to get home with how much usage he was getting. So another bomb there that was so close. And yeah, let me check out some of the off and on the clock ones too, because we were in the mix there as well. Now I'm down all the way on Thursday Night Football. Oh yeah, so we of course, like how many times is off and on the clock going to get burned by a Trey McBride TD? We had a Mixon, Terry McLaurin, Trey McBride TD1. Yeah. I have so many pick'ems in here. It's like hard to even here was my tight end one. I showed this where I did my all tight end one. I was too embarrassed to share this with anyone else ahead of the games, but Trey McBride, Dalton Schultz, Zach Ertz, Pat Fryermuth, a whiff there. But the pick'em stuff has been fun. I've definitely noticed the correlated game stacks and kind of like those core plays have been really where I've had my success. Holy shit. Speaking of success, so Goat Naps, who took down the $50,000 first prize, I saw him mentioning in the Discord that he might do this, just gifted out 50 YouTube memberships. Very, very generous, Goat Nap. Thank you so much. Here, I know you were going to do something similar for the Badge Bros channel. Very, very kind of you. Congratulations on that huge score, that awesome lineup there. Really appreciate that, Goat Napped. Have yourself a day. Have yourself a YouTube membership to 50 of you here. The nuke comes in here. So awesome stuff. Thank you again. Appreciate you, Tyler, as always. Yeah, it's been fun. Like just seeing how many people from the Deposit Kingdom, from the Badge Bros, it really is a fun thing to be a part of right now, especially if you're like me and, you know, take a bath on DraftKings most weeks. To have a place where, you know, we're not competing against all of the sim lords and people from the community continue to have success is a very fun thing. Appreciate this. Dallas subbed a couple months ago. Going to start jumping in these Deposit Kingdom drafts. Hope to see my name up there soon. Yes, please do. Please join us. No copy paste dates. I did not bink something yesterday. We came crashing down to earth, but still profitable day. Had that top 20 finish in the BR, so cannot complain whatsoever. And again, Goat Napped here loves the Deposit Kingdom community. Really appreciate that. So it seems like a ton of you were able to get memberships there. The only bummer thing, and I don't know exactly how it works, sometimes it like defaults to the lower memberships. If you do want access to the premium stuff, it might make you upgrade just the way they do the gifted memberships, but should only be like a dollar or two extra to get all of that premium content, depending on how the gifts come across. I hate that YouTube makes it so tricky with that YouTube membership stuff. But again, thank you, Goat Napped. All right. Where are we going to head next? Let's check out some best ball stuff. It's always easier to kind of look at my exposures here and see how the week went for me, just glancing at these. Zach Charbonnet and Neighbors, no Neighbors this week, so that's a bummer. Chase Brown, man. Chase Brown takeover is real. I thought there was a chance he might get, you know, banished to the shadow realm after that near fumble in the game, but his rushing shares have gone up every single week. This is compliments of JJ Zacharison's, data dump that he does on Monday mornings. Week 1, 25%, week 2, 25%, 36.8%, week 3, 50%, week 4, 57%, week 5, 62.5%, week 6. And he has a 51% success rate versus Zach Moss's 31%. So this Chase Brown stuff is aging nicely. Feel good about Brock Bowers. Rico had a rough game yesterday. They were using Zeke a lot because of that negative game script. The Cowboys are such a mess. But this is the one I wanted to get to. Or not Zay Flowers. I mean, Zay Flowers was good too. But our beloved Troy Franklin, 1 week after having the ball just drop right through his hands, he does score a touchdown. So this was the exposure that I just hated looking at the most of anything. And the fact that it's just showing this the faintest of a pulse makes me feel good. Bucky doing well there. So nothing disastrous up here at the top. George Kittle continues to do well. So that is the exposure review. Let's see where my advance rates are right now. As always, compliments of bbmdb.com. 22 of 150. So I actually dropped a little bit. I think I was at 25 out of 150 when we reviewed last week. I'm trying to think. Yeah, my portfolio tonight. Have some Garrett Wilson, obviously some Breece Hall, some Ray Davis, some Keon Coleman. So maybe a chance to sneak a few more teams up here. I think my top team. Oh no, this is a different top team than I think the one we looked at last week. Or no, it's not, because I was joking about the Chase Brown versus Zach Moss divide, and this team had both of them. A Trevor Lawrence team, which is wild. It's been all Lamar Jackson scoring for me here. God, the Jags are frustrating. I didn't even watch that game, but then reading about it after and looking at the box score, Doug Peterson's got to go. He's got to go. It's enough. It's enough already. But this wide receiver room, if I can get Nico back eventually, Justin Jefferson, Nico, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Christian Kirk, Josh Downs, Malik Washington. This one has Brock Bowers and then the 2 other punt tight ends. And the running backs, Najee Brown, Zach Moss, Jaleel McLaughlin, Charbonnet, and Mason. A decent team there. Man, appreciate all of you guys showing out in the chat. Purple Yosh with the super chat. Thank you, brother. Star Tours gifting out the membership. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Star Tours gift is for Troy Franklin. Let's see what my advance rate is on just Troy Franklin. What do we want to guess? I'm gonna guess it's like 6%. That might be generous. 5%? 8.7%. Okay, 2 out of 23. Somehow not as bad as I thought. What are the Chase Brown advance rates at these days? 5 of 26, so 19.2% there. Who else had a good game yesterday? How much Godwin do I have? I have only 12 Godwin shares, and 50% of those are advancing. How much Baker do I have? Baker, 4 of 11, 36% there. So yeah, that Baker Mayfield stuff is looking good. I have a ton of Bucky is where most of my Tampa Bay stuff. Yeah, that is, man, only 3 of 23 Bucky teams advancing. Probably because they're just getting bodied by all the Derrick Henry teams. Look at you. See, Tyler, this is you win on the bid equity front. No one's keeping up with you. 69 entries winning $420. Yeah, let's go look and see anything else here in the best ball tab. What do we got going here? That Mastiff team I showed you last week with the ship chasing fellas, that team's still hanging in the mix here. Top 4, just holding on for dear life with these running backs. It's the Chuba Hubbard and then nothing else. Raheem Mostert, Jaleel McLaughlin, Marshawn Lloyd, Samaje Perine, Audric Estime, Will Shipley. Holding on for dear life, but the wide receivers, you're not going to believe this, the wide receivers are pretty good. Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, A.D. Mitchell. Oh, man. You know what? I gotta take my L's when I get them. I had that bet with Pat on Darius Slayton versus Jalen Hyatt. Oh my God, am I getting just absolutely railroaded on that one? Like every play last night. So the Giants have just like nothing going. And so every other play is a shot down the sideline to Darius Slayton or a shot down the sideline to Jalen Hyatt. And Darius Slayton catches all of his and Jalen Hyatt connects for none of his. So I think I still have a chance to beat Davis in the infamous Cam Akers versus Carson Alligator Steal one. I am going to lose this Jalen Hyatt versus Darius Slayton bet. I was a Jalen Hyatt slappy heading into the year, and it's not looking great here. Let's check some advance rates. Jalen Hyatt, 5 of 15. Hey, let the record show 33.3% advance rate with Jalen Hyatt. I don't know how that's happening. Actually, I do know how it's happening because I always paired it with Wan'Dale Robinson or Malik Neighbors. So Jalen Hyatt was just a tax that I had to pay to get a lot of Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. No, I know it's a long season, but I've learned a lot from Davis on how you take L's early. And then when Jalen Hyatt hits for a big touchdown, then I'll just start rubbing it right in Pat's face. So you take the L now, you get out and ahead of it, but then you still keep the potential victory lap in your back pocket. That's part of the 2024 master class for touts. I do think it was, I've lost my last big eliminator, which is a bummer. John and I had that team we drafted on off and on the clock, and it does not look like it is going to make the cut this week. I'm trying to see if we have any players going tonight. This was the team where we had Barkley, Kamara, Ramondre, and J.K. Dobbins. So not having Ramondre play yesterday and Barkley shitting the bed, and then no Tyreek. Brandon Ayuk scores a 0. So the magic with this team comes to an end, even with Mark Andrews. I don't see, what do we have tonight? Mike Williams. So maybe we need a nuke game from Mike Williams tonight. I don't see any Buffalo stuff, any other Jets. So Mike Williams, we need you to put up a score. Luckily, he doesn't have to clear too much to get in this. You know, we need Mike Williams to score, what, 10 plus points? There's our sweat, John. There's our sweat. Mike Williams scores 10 plus. All right, let's head over to our Guillotine League here, where once again, for the second straight week, I am close to being on the chopping block in our Deposit Kingdom Guillotine League. My other teams, I have 3 Guillotine Leagues. One is like an industry one, one's with the Fantasy Life Friends and Family League, and then one is the Deposit Kingdom. My other 2 teams are looking good. This Deposit Kingdom one, I had Rashee Rice, rest in peace, and then Neighbors. So I haven't had, 2 of my top 3 picks these past couple weeks. And now I am on the chopping block with no more PMR to go. We were really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Geno Smith, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tajay Spears, Yoshi Voss, Wandell, Chase Brown, Zach Moss, Kyle Pitts. That was what we rolled out in this. The big mistake was I did pick up Tyler Lockett, but decided not to start him. Basically, I wanted to leave a spot open for Neighbors because, on Thursday night, I thought there was still a chance, I believe. I forget when Neighbors got ruled out. Maybe I did make a mistake if I knew that Neighbors was already out by then. I don't think he was officially ruled out when I set this lineup. Then had to pivot to Yoshi Voss. So now I have 67.78 points. 2 teams behind me, Lewis and Andrew, they're going to pass me because they each have a player going. But then this is my sweat here. It's Adam, Nana Pete. And did I notice Adam whose name was Throat Goat? Did Adam change his name from Throat Goat to Nana Pete after I stumbled over his team name last week? But he has Breece Hall going tonight. So this is the sweat, the Guillotine sweat. 67.78 points to my 49.22. So what is that? 67.22 minus 49.22 or 67.78. So I need to fade 18.56 points from Breece Hall. I'm a big Braylon Allen fan tonight. Big Braylon Allen fan. So we'll see if we can hold on. I don't think my team deserves to be in the mix anymore. I guess I will go ham on waivers this week if I can. Hopefully we get Neighbors back next week. Mahomes coming off the bye. Maybe we can stay in the mix, but holding on for dear life. Holding on for dear life. And I should mention, you guys can go in here. They have public league contests now that are paid contests, and it's rolling. So, these are, you can go draft these right now if you want to hop in and play these, this last man standing format here in the Guillotine lobby. I streamed this draft. So if you go back on the channel, we talked a little bit about strategy for this contest there, and you can hop in some of these Guillotine links. You can also create a private league to run with your buddies. So kind of like the second chance survivor stuff. It's nice that you can roll these out even after getting bounced. Maybe I'll have to start a second one when I get bounced inevitably. Ooh, Tyler says, good news, Pete. Our Sanctuary BBM with that we drafted is advancing. Yeah, I was looking through my BBM teams just to see which ones had the highest success rate. Just from a quick glance, my 2 things that were doing the best were the teams I drafted late, which makes sense. I was like on top of J.K. Dobbins and Jordan Mason with all my late drafts that I did solo. And then my teams with Sean. I have like 5 or 6 of my teams with Sean drafting. Like my advance rate with just Sean teams is extremely high. Makes sense with how much Brock Bowers we had. Sean was a lot of the calls Sean was on are looking really nice right about now. So yeah, it'll be fun to see how those progress. I've not been staring at my best ball teams too much. It's still a little early for me to do that, but we'll keep checking in on them here. All right, let's head over and look a little towards Monday Night Football. We have this Jets Bills game. Feels like it's going to be a pretty gross game here. Let's get in the Pick'em Lab and see what we can do. And then, we can check out Primetime Palooza. That includes that Saints Broncos game on Thursday night. Man, that's going to be a rough one for the Shipcast. Spencer Rattler, Bo Nix, no Chris Olave, but we will make do there. But yeah, let's figure out a little Pick'em build. Maybe we get a little no ball in here tonight and play some lowers. I was doing a little research for the game. Obviously, I think it's a rough spot for both of these passing games. Got to expect them to lean on the run a bit more here, both Breece, and it seems like we're going to get James Cook tonight. Looks like Underdog has lines up there, so not a ton of concern there for James Cook, but kind of interested in playing some of the lowers in the passing game here. So let's see. We'll look at the Pick'em Builder over on Fantasy Life as well. It's just kind of a quick screener here that compares Fantasy Life projections to the Underdog numbers, and then can kind of give us a quick glance here. It is liking, lower receiving yards for Garrett Wilson, lower passing TDs for Aaron Rodgers, lower passing yards. Interesting, it likes higher receiving yards for Conklin and Lazard. The higher rushing yards for Braylon. I like this one. I do think they're going to run a ton. Braylon's been playing pretty well. I like that one. Let me know in the chat if you guys have other suggestions that you like here for this game, and we'll get a couple pick'ems going, maybe a core and a little expanded one there. Let me find Braylon, because I think that is one I want to go to. That would be one higher I would be interested in making. Braylon higher than 33.5 rushing yards. That does look good to me. Mike Williams, maybe I hedge this. I hedge this with my my John Guillotine draft. Maybe we go lower on Mike Williams stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Mike says the Thursday Shiftcast is going to be 3 hours breaking down the pluses of Drake May. I was cracking up. I had to go. I went to Pat's Twitter feed yesterday to see what he had posted, if he was in Drake May Euphoria. And I believe he only had 2 posts on his entire account yesterday. And one was a retweet making fun of Rachaad White in the Tampa Bay Bucs running game, doing well without Rachaad White. And the other was just a retweet of Drake May highlights. And I was like, you're staying very on brand with those posts, Pat. Coleman receiving or Allen rushing on the lowers. That's kind of where I was leaning. Are you saying the hires run good? I think some of like this outside stuff this game, like the Coleman specifically, he's a guy I like, but I kind of like, I think I'm going to play lowers on Mike Williams and Keon Coleman on the outside. I was looking at the RotoViz pass. They have this passing matchup rater, and it did not like the stuff there for the outside receivers. I guess the Khalil Shakur thing too is a domino. It seems like he's truly questionable. It sounded like he was going to play when I was reading about it yesterday. But we'll have to see how that goes there. Yeah, Bills have been clamping outside wide receivers. I like that. So we got Braylon, Keon, and Mike Williams. I kind of like this as just a core here. It's a classic little 6X. I'm going to lock this in for the core. And then, God, the location stuff. And then let's see if we can expand on it for get us something more in the like 15 to 20X range. There we go. So we're going to go Braylon Allen higher than 33.5 rushing yards, Keon Coleman lower than 35.5 receiving yards, Mike Williams lower than 26.5 receiving. I'll post this in the Discord as well if you guys want to tail. Let's add a couple more to this. I kind of like that lower passing TDs for Aaron Rodgers too. 2 passing TDs that they're going to be running a decent amount there. It's juiced down. Okay. It's only 0.71. That's not as fun there for Aaron Rodgers. Man, they're giving Rodgers a decent amount of scramble stuff here. 199.5 passing yards, but 225.5 pass plus rush yards. I don't love that 0.71x doc, though, on that. Multiple people in the chat shouting out Conklin. I guess I don't hate that. The fantasy life likes it there, too. And if we're playing, you know, Mike Williams not having success on the outside, I don't mind that. So what do we like more for Conklin? Receptions or receiving yards? The receptions does get a 1.05 versus, man, yeah, he's had 6 receptions, 4 or 5. Let's just take this receptions. 4 receptions for Conklin. We can check his utilization real quick. I mean, his ADOT has to be pretty low. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, he's coming off 6, 8, and 8 target game. ADOT is low. I kind of like the receptions here. Longest reception, 13.5. I would probably take the lower on that. Yeah, let's do receptions on him. Someone mentioned a TD one, maybe Cook. I do like playing the running game. So Breece Hall is 1.1. Let's see what Cook is. Cook is 1.2. I do think if the Bills have success here, it's on the ground. Are we for sure James Cook is all good? Practice today, this was 2 days ago. So yeah, I think we're good on James Cook. And then what? We'll get we get the vulture production too. Let's do James Cook TD in this. And then this gets us up to a 25x. I like this one. So we had that core, Braylon Allen, Keon Coleman, Mike Williams, Braylon Allen higher rushing yards, and then Coleman and Mike Dubb lower. Conklin higher receptions. James Cook scores the tutty. I think this one tells a nice story. I think this lineup tells a nice story. We're going to lock this in. All right. I will post these in the chat. And I'll pin them in the comments or after the show ends. If you guys are watching this after the fact and want to tail us on Monday Night Football. Let's do a Primetime Palooza, and then we can do a quick look at the Week 7 slate, because Underdog has already posted a bunch of contests in the lobby. But let's go ahead and do a little Primetime Palooza for this slate. If you guys want to come join me, this is my my first look at this slate. We have the 4 quarterbacks: Allen, Rodgers, Nix, Rattler. We have man, yeah, this slate is thin, man. The running backs is fine, like getting down to Braylon Allen. Wide receiver, holy cow. So like Olave's not going to play. Garrett Wilson's your wide receiver 1. Sutton's your 2. Shaheed I like. Shakir, legitimately questionable. Like, Allen Lazard could be your wide receiver 4 on this slate. My God. Tight end, Kincaid, Hill, Conklin, Jawan. This might be one of the grosser Primetime Palooza slates I have seen. Scrolling down to Bub Means on these. Honestly, I don't hate it. I want to see what the usage was for Bub Means. Those of you who go way back to the Deposit Kingdom channel, you'll remember that in the scroll down video, I used Bub Means as a joke of being like, you got to scroll down, but you don't scroll down too far to like whoever Bub Means is. And now Bub Means is starting to heat up, which was always kind of the hope that Bub Means would become a bit of a meme and succeed. Basically nothing all year, and then has an 8 target game with Spencer Rattler. So isn't there that theorem that even the ETR guys back tested? Oh, I'm on the clock here. Okay, I think what we do, I think I want to do Josh Allen and James Cook. I think Garrett Wilson, Kamara, Breece Hall all go. I think that's right. And then I think we just take the next 2 best players, which is Josh Allen and Breece Hall. What was I going to say? Oh, that there was the theorem of like backup wide receivers and backup quarterbacks having a connection because they play or, you know, when they're doing second team reps or the practice squad or whatever. So I like the idea of there being a Spencer Rattler, Bub Means connection that was always percolating below the surface. And that's now really starting to cook. But man, this slate is gross. I bet we can find some fun scroll downs though. Troy Franklin. Maybe could this be like if we like some of could this be like a Curtis Samuel? I need to go look at some of the Bills wide receiver stuff here. So if Shakir's out, so Keon on the outside, Mac Hollins has been getting some deep shots. I could see a little bit. Curtis Samuel, I think, could be a good scroll down if Shakir doesn't go. MBS is getting lapped by Hollins. I think it's Samuel and Hollins who I would like here. Let's grab Braylon. I want to go double running back. I mean, wide receiver is so weak. I lost Dalton Kincaid. Is Taysom going to play? Has anyone heard anything about Taysom Hill? Let's grab Braylon. And then I think I just take Taysom, right? Because if not, I could just swap this to like a Dawson Knox team. And Taysom's like the only one left with a huge ceiling here. I mean, I actually think Conklin and Juwan are fine. You know what? Let's do Conklin for the culture. You guys sold me into Conklin in the pick'em entry. He's going to have, 3.5 catches, and one of them is going to be a touchdown. There we go. We'll do Conklin for you for the culture. As far as programming today, ADP chasing as usual, in season ADP chasing, that'll be live here in 25 minutes over on the Ship Chasing channel. If you want to see Pat's first on-camera reaction to the Drake May debut, full-length debut yesterday, you can tune into ADP Chasing. I'm sure there'll be some Mark Andrews discourse over there. Always a fun show with Sam Davis and Pat Carane on ADP Chasing. Tomorrow night, you have Stat Chasing. If you guys are YouTube members on the Ship Chasing channel, you can watch that live. Sacrilegious. I mean, he says basically everything he's looking to do in Dawg Bowl drafts. You can hear him being reluctant as he's saying it, but he shares that on there. It's a very valuable show. If you guys are drafting on Underdog, they do basically a deep dive into all the utilization stuff and kind of use it as a way to forecast breakouts, guys they're on. And then it's nice because Sacrilegious is playing in a ton of the Underdog stuff. So he will reference the ADPs and a lot of stuff over there. And we'll have the usual other programming from me this week. Tuesday Swolecast, Thursday Lulls, Shipcast, Block Party, Off and On the Clock, yada, yada, yada. All right, we are going to have to draft some wide receivers here. So I mentioned Curtis Samuel. We're going to do him. Let's just rip it in. We're going to do a full fade on Denver and New Orleans, and we're just going to play the entirety of this Jets-Bills game. So we finish here with Josh Allen, James Cook, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, Braylon Allen, and Tyler Conklin. All right, we can do a little first look here at some of the Week 7 stuff. Yes, and I agree with Waylon. We are being fast and loose with the definition of fun and talking about scroll down options on that slate. But look, if you were ever trying to find a place where you're like, you know what, this is the Vele week, you're sacrificing too much to do that on a main slate. You just can't do it. But these Primetime Paloozas, this is your chance to get your Vele exposure. So let's see what we have in the lobby for this week. We do have the Battle Royale, the Week 7 contest. It looks like we got a similar structure to last week with that 50,000 up top. You love to see it. Got the Wildcat, the Bomb, Flea Flicker. Looks like we got back up to the bigger fullback dive, which I like to see here. How much? Yeah, 5,000 to first. Love that. Extra point, squib kick, all of the smaller stuff, including the hurry up. Look at how sick people are, man. The $3 20 max hurry up already has 626 entrants. Didn't this just post like 20 minutes ago? What? I mean, you people are sick. I got to do some math. There's already been 52 hurry up drafts this morning. Unbelievable. All right, let's do a wildcat here, and we'll take a first look at this slate. Yeah, let's see what these games are too, because I do not know them whatsoever. So we have Philadelphia at the Giants. We have Seattle at Atlanta. That's intriguing. Houston at Green Bay. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Detroit at Minnesota. Yeah. Miami at Indy. Tennessee at Buffalo. Las Vegas at Los Angeles. Carolina at Washington. KC at San Francisco. Yeah. I would give it like 3 that I was exciting. 3 consider me curious. A few scratch off games. Yeah, seems like a fun slate. Houston Green Bay is like one of those games that's either going to be like 50-40 or a colossal disappointment. Tyreek against the Colts feels like a lock, man. I'm hesitant to say the word lock involving anything with that offense until Tua is back. But I hear you. The Colts have been getting shredded. There's 2 Rattler Bub Means teams. Man, what an oracle. Also, I just caught myself in the camera again. I'm like, I'm still wearing my gold chain. Vikings Lions, I agree, will be interesting. Vikings off the bye. I'll be interested to see if Aaron Jones is completely okay. He was week to week heading into the bye. I don't know if we've heard anything about this one. Yeah, Chiefs San Francisco. I couldn't even get fully excited about that because the Chiefs are just, man, they're so sad from like a fantasy perspective. They're a juggernaut. They're efficient in the most like boring way. All right, we are on the clock, so we're going Kyren, Justin Jefferson, Barkley to start. I kind of like this Brown Chase. I think Brown's my favorite pick of these. Brown, I think, is a little inflated. I think Amon-Ra coming off of the dud where they just didn't need to even throw at all because they were just boat racing the Cowboys. I kind of like going back to him. Let's check out the rest of the landscape. Pretty deep running back pool here. Tight end is pretty good. Does feel like wide receivers here. So Washington versus Carolina. Terry is fun. Drake London has been playing really well lately. I'm not sure. So Drake London, this is about where he went last week. I guess his ADP is lower. The Drake London work over the past few weeks has been awesome. JJ had a note on him in his data dump. So yeah, PPR points weeks 1 was 3.5. Since then, he's had 17, 18, 12, 33 in 19. I like that game environment at home versus Seattle in the Dome. So we'll go back to Drake London there. Yeah, Kyren is the 101 this week. Hard to disagree with that against the Raiders there. His workload is awesome. We did see a little bit more Blake Corum for the first time. I still don't think that changes much for his ceiling, but worth noting that Blake Corum's, I guess it was week 5. So the last time we saw him was week 2. And then week 5, he had a little bit more snaps, rush attempts there. But yeah, no, Kyren is a smash against the Raiders. Jaden falling a good bit here. I mean, his ADP will correct for sure, but interesting to see him all the way down here. I kind of like going back to Gibbs too, like Gibbs on an Amon-Ra team, just like the 2 guys that didn't really fully get there on the Lions last week. Debo way down here feels nice. Yeah, what are we doing with Debo? Why is Debo all the way down here? I'm taking Debo. I will tell you right now, Debo will be like ADP of 10 or 11 by Friday. you can book that. Look at me getting to be a piss boy in the BR streets. Amon-Ra, Drake London, Deebo Samuel. Let's see the quarterback ADPs with these. Purdy's late. Kirk is late. And Goff is late. So I can sit on all of that. Let's do the Gibbs. I'm going to do a Gibbs, Amon-Ra, mini. And then we just need to figure out what we want to do at tight end. One more coffee pour. You're getting one more coffee pour on this stream today. Is that real? Panthers Commanders has a 51.5 point game total. Wild. Yeah, man, that was brutal for the Lions. Just playing so well, and then to lose their best defender. Like the not to be morbid, but definitely good for their potential of more shootouts though if their defense isn't good. I want to take Bowers here. Is Bowers still here? Oh no, Bowers just went. I'm not gonna do Laporta, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra. Kincaid versus Tennessee, Pitts versus Seattle. Kraft versus that. Someone wanting to do Hawk as the bring back. Is Hawk going to play? Limited practice. This was from last week. We could just do Hawk and do a swap if we need it. Yeah, let's click Hawk. That sounds fun. And then we'll pick one of these quarterbacks. We'll do Kirk or Purdy. I can't either with it. I just want, if you're tuning in now, I do not normally wear a gold chain. It would have been far more obnoxious if I was wearing this last week after I won. All right, who should we do? Should we do Cousins or Purdy? Let's do Cousins. I feel like, Drake London, of all of these, of each of these quarterbacks, I feel like the one who benefits the most from their wide receiver going nuts is probably Kirk. So there it is. We do a Kirk to Drake skinny stack there. We play flop lag on Gibbs and Amon-Ra. We play the Q tag game with Hawk, and we buy the dip on Deebo, who is going to be much more expensive by the end of the week. It will be fascinating to see how our perceptions of this slate change. It always blows my mind. It happens like with the Swolecast where we record on Tuesday. And granted, it is the like the literal definition of a first look show. But then by the end of the week, it's like, I can't even remember what we talked about on that show. I can't even remember what I thought about the slate. Like, so much changes with how you think about things by Friday or Saturday. So I am much more of a late drafter than I am an early one. I think I saw a comment in the chat here earlier. Yeah, Run Good Rick was saying it'd be interesting to see the BR data on early drafting versus late. I've given my opinion about this a few times. I like getting my like a feel for the slate early in the week. So like hopping in a few of these Wildcats, just kind of taking a glance. But for two reasons, I do not think you are losing out on an edge or however you'd want to describe it by drafting battle royales late. We talk about the dynamic a ton with the like Best Ball Mania, right? And there's like legitimately good or positive advantages to drafting early. You can get some really good CLV teams. The ADP's all borked, all of that. The ADP closing line values that you're just getting in the battle royales are just not as pronounced. Deebo would honestly be probably as close to a CLV hit as you're going to get, as far as one that I think would be meaningful, where I do think Deebo will be thought of as one of those top, 10 to 11 plays on the slate when things settle. And right now is a time where you could potentially get him paired with some other of top 2, top 3 plays that otherwise wouldn't. But that kind of movement is generally a little bit more rare just from my opinion. So I think in the Dawg Bowls, the 12 persons, that CLV can be important. I know all the people who draft early in those Dawg Bowls built some monster teams. I just don't think it's as pronounced of an effect in the BRs unless you do have a read. And this is the first time, like, going through the slate, looking at that Debo ADP at 23.6. I'm like, he's going to be a, ADP 11 or 12 by the time we close. So maybe that's an angle. Like, if I were doing a bunch of BR drafts today, I would just pick that angle. Who's the guy I think is completely mispriced, take him in every draft, then chill out, and then come back later in the week. But I'm never going to discourage people from drafting early and often. But just the way I like to play things, I like to get a lay of the land, get my research in, see the projections, all of that good stuff, and then kind of hop in and start drafting. All right. I believe that is, see, this is what I was worried about. Tuning in now, and first thought is nice chain. You got to go back and get the origin story of the chain. There was Bob, I think it was Bob Hope. Is that his username in the chat? Wanted it, and I forgot that I had it hanging over on my my closet hook. But yeah, I'm going to shut this down now. In 10 minutes, you guys got ADP chasing over on the Ship Chasing channel. Enjoy Monday Night Football. If you guys are in the Discord for the Hand Builders, Opto Bros, I'll post some stuff for the Showdown slate. I haven't been having a chance to play Showdown on Thursday night and Sunday night just because I've been so busy. But Mondays is the one slate I reliably get to play. So I'll share some stuff in there from the solver and run the Sims. And otherwise, good luck tonight. Good luck with any of your season-long things that still hang in the balance. Let's root for Breece Hall to score less than 18.56 points tonight so we can survive our Guillotine League, all of that good stuff. And again, final congrats to everyone in the Deposit Kingdom who had a big week 6, and a mega congrats and thank you to Goatnapped for his 50K score and the generous membership gifting there from Goatnapped, living up to the name, the titular name, if you will. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on the Portfolio Review.